Hi. Today is the first day of the year, which is crazy. It's Monday. How is the new year going so far? Decent. Okay. I did not stick with waking up at 6 a.m., but I got up at 7. Improvement. So this morning, I got my drawing of the day done with my morning drawings. I've been wanting to accomplish a couple new things this year. One is that I really want to learn how to be detailed with my work, and that could come from, I think it should come from actually observing the world and seeing the details in it. So this morning I used a reference, a beautiful reference. It's like a wine glass with a whole bunch of fruit coming out of it. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So I used that as a reference, and I really wanted to get down the shading and just the shapes overall, and really focus on the image and see the details, which was very difficult because I'm a person who's like, my attention's here, my attention's there, my attention's here, my attention's there. Like I cannot really focus that well. But for an hour today, I sat down, tried to be as accurate as I could to the image, and I think I did all right. I chose this image of fruits because I've been fascinated by fruits. Fruits are very difficult to get. It's mostly because they're full of dimensionality, and obviously real fruits are full of bumps, some little detail. All of those elements are things that I'm just not good at getting down on paper. I get mostly because I rush a lot. I don't really get down the accurate shading, the accurate bumps, the accurate I don't really get down the accurate imperfections of fruits. I feel like all my fruits that I draw are really perfect, which is gorgeous in a way, but the beauty of fruit is its imperfections, the fact that it's came from the earth. I think the hardest fruits to capture with this sketch was the pear, mostly because pears to me seem so smooth, and even its imperfections are very minor, very hard to see at first glance. It's really when you're touching a pear that you could feel all its bumps. You could feel that it's actually from the ground, that it's not perfect. I really wanted to capture its imperfections, and I think I got it down somewhat. I'm not really confident with my shading. I think I could have went for a much more interesting contrast using a lot more darker colors. I think I could have gone a lot darker in places, and I didn't really look at the fruit as a whole at first. I kind of started with the darkest area, and then I went lighter, and I tried to go darker, but I don't know. I think I just want to about it in a weird way. But yeah, it was very hard to get down the imperfections of a pear because it's very slight. I needed to really have a light hand with most of the imperfections. It took me a long time to get the pear down. The easiest fruits is grapes, obviously, because it's just grapes tend to be very circular. The only problem that I have with my grapes is that I kind of got tired. I kind of got tired in the middle of shading them, so the shading doesn't have a direct light source that you could tell, especially when you compare that to the pears, the strawberries, and the lemons. So I was just shading, shading, shading. The problem that I had with the grapes is really a problem that I have with my mentality. I have to finish every single thing that I make, and a lot of the times I just rush to the end, and it really ruins the whole thing that I'm making, which is really something I want to change. I want to be okay with spending a lot of time on one thing and not being, quote unquote, as productive. I just need to be okay with studying a subject for a really long time and not thinking that process is a waste of time. A lot of the time I'm looking at a reference and I try to copy that down, but I'm not really taking the time to understand the composition, the line work, or anything like that. I just want to kind of copy it. from the reference, which is something I have to do, but I want to slow down and actually understand what I'm doing and why I like how the image turns out. Yeah, so back to the sketches. The lemons were interesting. I do think I like the shading of the lemon on the right more than the left. Again, the problem with the left one is that I was getting tired and I wanted to get it done ASAP. And the strawberries look kind of pathetic looking. The seeds are way too big, I think. But overall, fun sketch. I just need to work on my patience a lot more. And one part of me is like, why am I beating myself up over a sketch? I had fun with the sketch. I was having fun just drawing the elements. And yes, it was a bit frustrating, but I wasn't like pissing myself off. It was just like, oh, this pear is a bit messed up. Let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try this. Let me try that. I wasn't really frustrated with this sketch. Like I'm making it seem like with this voiceover. I have this tendency for perfectionism that is so unhelpful and really detrimental to my life. I had fun making the sketch. Why am I being so negative right now? It's because it's not perfect. It's because the image could be better. I didn't capture all the elements correctly, even though why am I using the word correctly too? All these words about like perfect, correct. This is art. Why am I being so like pissy and weird? I don't know. I had fun making it and I want to let my future self know it was fun. I didn't beat myself up this way, but it's always afterwards that I get like this. After I've had fun, after I've made the piece and I'm standing back and looking at it, I kind of turn on myself and beat myself up over the smallest details. Like, yes, the shading is not great, but I did learn more about shading and how to understand the light source and all that. I learned something, and that should be enough. I shouldn't beat myself up because I didn't understand it 100%. Like, this was a new subject. I got a 70 out of 100 instead of 100%, but 70% is good for a person who's doing this for the first time. But again, the straight A type in my head is getting in the way, and it's just very unhelpful. I really want to focus this year on not beating myself up over not being perfect. Line work is very difficult for me, even though I find it the most gorgeous part of, the drawing process. I have shaky ass hands. So yeah, that is one thing I'm working on, my line work. Approaching my line work is kind of separate from my shading and my just drawing work. To improve on my lines, I'm actually taking on henna. Interesting, yeah, I know. I've always loved henna, but the whole henna design really is contingent on how beautiful the lines are, like having a range of different line weights, having thin lines, having thicker lines, and having a beautiful mixture between those is what makes henna so beautiful. So yeah, I'm taking henna on as a way to do my own henna for Eid because I don't want to pay for it, but also because I just love lines and I want to get better at line work. My lines right now are very shaky. I just have I don't know, my body is energetic. Even though my voice sounds dead right now, my body is not dead. Like, it's always shaking. It needs to move constantly. Mostly because Eid is in like April or late March or something this year, and I want to do my own henna this year. So yeah, I'm gonna have to practice. I've grown to appreciate henna artists even more. I don't know how they just charge like $10-20 for their work when it's so difficult. It is so difficult. Like, forget about, like, right now, I'm not even thinking about the line weights and having like thin lines, thicker lines. Just making a straight line is crazy hard. So all that I'm doing with my henna right now is to just get the henna where I want it to be at. It's not about the lines. My lines are thick as hell, like it's way too thick. It's like ugly. But I'm a beginner. The lines are gonna be ugly. I just want to get the henna exactly where I want it to be. Like if I'm making a circle, I don't want the henna to actually go like in a different direction, which has been going on. I'm learning how to hold the henna cone, a very specific way to hold an object. Like you need to apply consistent pressure, which again, consistency, me, not a great combination, but I need to learn how to hold a henna cone so that I could consistently put constant pressure on it, but also doesn't cramp up my hand. And my hand gets cramped very easily because I'm usually writing things. I like to write down things on paper, so I'm usually writing or drawing. So this hand gets a workout. But the way I hold the henna is different, and it just requires so much more effort that my hands crample up a lot. Crample up. I don't know. But yeah, those are my two projects that I'm working on.